So we are using the new upgraded FSD Beta 10.69.25 for this drive. This comes with a software update 2022.44.25.5. Okay, so we've got full self-driving engaged. Do have a car coming up here from the left and from the right. Car is just creeping forward just a touch. So another new feature that I'm noticing with the update is that I've got the navigation right out here. That is actually pretty aggressive. I'm going to disengage autopilot just because we're accelerating down this hill. And then re-engage it right there. Got the speed under control. I'm going to reduce our speed because the roads are a lot slipperier. So that was actually my error getting started out. I usually set the speed a little slower on these slippery roads. We've got a right turn, a couple of cars coming up from the left. There is an opening, but that car, there you go. Autopilot's creeping forward. Okay, and we successfully made that turn. So there's actually an opening right there with the car coming up from the left-hand side being in the furthest lane, but I think our car did the safe thing by not making that lane turn, or that turn right there. We are slippery here, so I'm again going to reduce the speed quite a bit. Our car does want to make a switch from this lane into the left lane to continue on the route. So we're in the incorrect lane now for navigation. I'm really excited about this new update, FSD 10.69.25. It does show some good improvements in terms of error detection reduction. But nonetheless, I want to be super cautious because the roads are slippery. We don't have any lane markings, as you can see on the exterior view of the vehicle, but our car is depicting lane markings here very well. I thought it did a great job with this navigation over to the left-hand side. In previous versions of FSD, on this specific drive, I've had a lot of issues with the car waiting too long to make the merge into the left-hand side. And with traffic today, last-minute Christmas shopping, holiday shopping, people are out and about, and we've got just a lot of cars we have to maneuver around here. So thought FSD did a great job with that. We are getting into the left turn lane, and our stop signal up here shows a left arrow, so we could proceed straight through just following this traffic. Oh, actually a little bit of a change there, so we're going to see what happens. Nice. So I really like the spot that our car picked to stop. There's, again, no hold short line here for the intersection, but our car did stop at a good place that keeps us clear of any traffic going through the intersection. Again, great modeling with the new FSD Beta. I do have the ability with this, as in previous versions, to move the turn signal up to 3 different locations on the screen for visibility. So I actually prefer this one right here. So now that we've got the green light, we're on a yellow arrow, yellow flashing arrow. Our car is waiting to see that there's no traffic coming in. That was nice. A little aggressive in the turn. I thought that acceleration was a bit strong, but we didn't skid, overly skid throughout the turn, through the maneuver, so our car did maintain control through that. So we're having a little bit of a struggle here with which lane to be in. Just going to let the car find its way. Nope, and I'm going to take over right there because we're straying off the road. And get a set right here. Yeah, I'm not finding a lot of great lane discipline coming through that specific spot, and we do have other vehicles around us. There's a truck behind us, so I don't want to sway out of our lane and get into the path of that vehicle. Alright, so I'm going to take over at that point, but I did want to show you that segment of the drive just to show how difficult it is for the car to maintain its position in a lane when it can't see lane markings. And we are at a highway speed, where I feel like that's not very safe condition to be in. So I'm driving right now. As soon as we get down here a little bit, I'm going to re-engage full self-driving. So do that and I'll reduce the speed. Yeah, and again, we're straying just a little bit out of our lane, just a little too far to the left where I feel like it's really slippery there. So again, just taking over. Okay, full self-driving back on. We're gonna see how it does. No, that is very difficult right there. So one of the things that I'm driving right now, other than cruise control being on, one of the things that I'm a little concerned about with this version is that, in terms of what I'm seeing really early on here, is that I've got a very good dry pavement section here that the car should be able to stay within this lane. But it doesn't want to stay here. It's trying to depict a lane based on the position, the dimensions of the lane, and it's picking a spot that really just kind of keeps us into a low traction area. So again, I'm going to try to re-engage full self-driving right here. And we're just hovering right on this center line. I don't know if you can see the marking right there on the road. But I think the car is really trying to find a spot that keeps us in a lane and also keeps us around the traffic. So I'm not going to give this very strong marks for this portion of the drive. And I do have a red light. Didn't feel the car slowing down there at all, so I did take over. Again, very slippery conditions. I am a cautious driver. I like to be safe with an expensive vehicle with full self-driving that's not very easily replaceable. So I do want to just go through that nice and easy. We're going to re-engage full self-driving right here, and this may not work. We'll give it another try. So in this section of the drive, I actually have two things that are helping keep the car in the lane. Not only the lane markings, but the traffic around it, and the car is maintaining spacing away from vehicles. So right now I kind of feel like it's finding its position in the lane based on where the vehicle is sitting on the right side of us that we just passed. We're going to see once we get clear of that how well we do. So we're right up in the snow there on the left tires. We should be slowing down right here because we've got a stoplight, and I'm going to take over again. Okay, and back into full self-driving. And you're seeing that lane drift right here where the car does want to keep to the left side or the right side, but not directly in the center of the lane where I would drive as a driver. We're going to continue on this just for a little bit, make a left-hand turn up here at the next light. And what I'm feeling, what's not coming through really well in the video, but what I'm feeling is there's a lot of kind of wavering and finding position. The car did brake suddenly right there. So I'll take over and see if we can get it back in. Okay, here we go. And again, very difficult for the car without very solid lane markings. So far what I'm observing is the fact that Tesla Full Self-Driving Beta is a highly visual system using cameras, and it's going to need good lane markings to be able to determine its position when driving. So although it does drive the car and accelerate, decelerate, and provide navigation, what I'm finding it struggle with really, and I've got full self-driving back on, so when we get the light change, we're going to make this change. But what I'm finding the car struggle with is being able to find its place in the lane when we're driving. Part of it could be the time of day. We are transitioning from daytime to evening and to night with the early sunset, and so we're losing a little bit of that visibility. That may help the car and the cameras see a little better. Also, if I'm honest, I don't think the cameras are as clean as they could be, so that could be a factor as well. Just do a quick check here to see how the rear camera looks. Yeah, so there's a little bit of cloudiness or contamination there. So they're not like in pristine condition, and that could be a factor as well. So just waiting on the light to change. I'm curious to see how the acceleration is through this turn. I'm expecting it's going to want to make the turn pretty aggressively, so I'll want to monitor how fast it goes through the turns so that we don't skid and slide into the snow embankment there on the right side of the next lane that we'll be in. All right, we've got the traffic control change to green arrow. Feeling just a little bit of a slide there. Not too bad though. I don't feel like the car accelerated overly aggressively in that specific portion. And I'm going to reduce the speed again just because every time I set full self-driving it does default to that 2 miles an hour over the speed limit that I've set it at. So we're going to bring it back to 20 miles an hour. Just give the car a lot of leeway here. Okay, it's doing pretty good, so I'm going to bring the speed up to 25 miles an hour. So in this portion of the road where I do not see any lane markings, and I do see a lot of snow and sand that's laid down here typical in the upper Midwest for traction control, the car is doing a great job in this specific section of the drive. So we are finding the right side of the lane. I am in the position right now where I would feel I would want to be when I'm driving. But the car is struggling just a little bit right here. It's kind of on the right side now and making its way back into the correct position in the lane. Very slippery section of corner here, and I thought the car went through there very nicely. And I seriously would not try this drive with the summer tires on the vehicle. I do drive with Viking Contact 7 tires or Continental tires. I've done a lot of videos with those specific tires on this car, and I really like the traction that it provides and the quietness. I've absolutely zero affiliation with Continental or with that specific tire brand, but I really like the tires. So I'm just sharing that information with you from my experience. And I think the next set of winter tires I put on the car will be the same brand and model, unless they've come out with an improved version for traction control. So we are just kind of working our way through this section of the drive. Very nice and easy, good speed. I am finding the car just wavering slightly through the navigation to try to find the specific spot in the lane that it wants to be in. And on this corner, I probably would have slowed down just a few miles an hour. I didn't feel any attempt from the car to slow, but it was pretty safe going through there. I'm going to be very curious to see how it does going down this hill. So we do have a hill that possibly will have some ice on it, and I would be slowing down right now. I don't feel any attempt from the car to slow down, so I'm going to bring that speed back, way back, way back. Okay, just a little bit beyond what I'm comfortable with from a risk standpoint, so I'll bring that off full self-driving, bring our car to a stop here. And then full self-driving is back on. Good, so we're going to make a right-hand turn. Want to be very careful going through this because I do have a car right there. Wow, that was aggressive on the acceleration. A little bit of sliding, not too bad, but definitely would have not accelerated that aggressively on this type of road condition. Car's doing a great job trying to find its way into the left turn lane. Didn't quite get there. We are in actually in the center lane, not for the turn. I'm going to let the car continue to do its thing. Okay, so we're going to want to wait for some of this oncoming traffic to clear through. I'm not in a turn lane right here, so I'm going to move the car over just a little bit to get out of traffic coming up behind us. And full self-driving is on right now. We're just waiting for the turn to clear. A little scare there. Wow, it jumped just a little bit, like I wanted to try to find a hole right there. Okay, now we've got a good place that we could make this turn. I'm going to give it some accelerator to encourage it, and it completes the turn. Coming up on a four-way stop here to finish our drive. We do make that stop very nicely. I felt the speed going into that intersection was nice. And right here we're going to finish the drive with a little bit of a turn. Good, well done. I like that position right there. So from this point, I'm going to just put full self-driving beta back on and let the car drive us out of the downtown area before I finish the drive up. I do want to see how it does here with parked cars on these very snow-covered streets. And for some reason the car picked up on a speed zone change. We do have a car right here, right in our way. Let's see what happens. Nice job, nice job. We'll let them go. So this is interesting. This person's making a U-turn right here in the middle of the road in front of us, and our car just came to a complete stop because that car was obstructing our navigation. So I did not intervene at all with that, other than to bring the speed back down so that we had good stopping distance without sliding. Thought it handled that situation very well. So kind of mixed results. I think if I was driving this specific version of full self-driving beta in nice road conditions, so summer, fall, where lane markings are very evident to the car, I think the car would do an awesome job. From what I'm seeing in terms of how it responds to other vehicles and traffic around it, it's doing a great job navigating and with safety and traffic around it. One thing as you noticed early on in the video, that I'm really struggling with this version is that it's not finding a good spot in the lane without good lane markings. So that is a limitation right now that I think would need to be worked on if I was to use full self-driving regularly in this type of environment here in the northern United States. So we're going to make this turn, and then I'll bring the car to a stop. We'll wrap up the drive right there. Oh, cruise control unavailable. That was interesting right there at the end of the drive. I was going to wrap it up just up here, but I'm back on driving right now just because it suddenly turned off and said it was not available for that specific part of the drive. So I'm not sure what happened with that, but I don't see the steering wheel on top of the screen. So at this point, I am driving the car back home. There's no full self-driving beta available. But I tell you what, that was a good first run. We got to see some of the limitations of full self-driving and see some of the improvements that it was showing us as well. I did see some incremental improvement in terms of how it handled other vehicles around us, and didn't really get a chance to test it with pedestrians. Oh, and interestingly, we did get the little steering wheel back up there just for a second, so looks like right now I can put it back on. There we go. We're going to try this one more time. I want to go through a roundabout intersection up here just to see how the car navigates through roundabouts, and then we're going to finish the drive right after that. So I think this is going to be an unedited video. I may put in some speed ramps just to speed things up a little bit on the slower parts of the drive, but overall I think, you know, I'm gonna keep whatever's in so that you can see exactly how the car performs from start to finish, exactly as I would see during a drive here with the new update. And we're going through the roundabout nicely. A little bit of a stop. There wasn't a flow through that, but the car did make its way through, 0 interventions going through that roundabout. And right there we will end the drive. So just wanted to thank you guys for watching, and we'll have to get back out here when the roads are in a little better shape. We did just have a big snowstorm go through last night, so road crews have been working hard. Hats off to them for the fine job that they've been doing clearing the roads. This is really a lot better than when I was out driving earlier this morning. So that's going to wrap it up, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.